It's a Pet's Life with Gym Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet. Managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit at petslife.ie.
There's KFM for a Tuesday. Time for It's a Pet's Life. Des Groom joins me in studio as always for this Tuesday. Now tell me the truth, Des. How did Dave get on with you last week?
Dave got on well because he had done his little bit of research and he had his few questions lined up and he was well informed on the topics and on the issues and we gelled very well together and had a great chat.
Bus, Dave.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can join Dave, by the way, back again Saturday morning and Sunday morning, and before all that he always was floating around here in KFM from time to time. Anyway, Saturday, Sunday morning, 7 o'clock, Dave McGrath and the Weekend Breakfast. When we think about kind of this time of the year, it's really the time where the little buggy things will be coming out because the dry weather is here. That has a knock-on effect for all sorts of problems with your animals as well. Is this seasonal?
Yeah, allergies are generally seasonal.
Yeah.
Now, you get the occasional animal that's allergic to a various thing on a year-round basis, but in general terms, most allergies are seasonal because the biggest things that activate the immune system would be pollen, grass seeds, various different plant seeds. That'd be the biggest factor. And insects of different sorts. The old midges that we talk about, they're a type of mite, the Culicoides mite, which is the commonest type of tiny mite in Ireland. Really common. Allergic responses to mites are really common.
Yeah.
So that's totally seasonal. That's to do with humidity and temperature.
Yeah.
Humidity and temperature. The mild warm climate we have.
Yeah, I always seem to think that this time of the year, when it comes to cats and dogs, and they're floating around and they're running through bushes and they're rolling around in the grass and they're doing all sorts of things. They're lying on the patio where there's loads of ants and mites and all sorts of things. And before you know it, they're off scratching and itching and away.
Yeah, that's right.
And that seems to be the common
That
trend.
seems to be it. You know, John, when I was growing up as a youngster, I remember at the age of 8 or 9 years of age at home in Ballinderry Stud in Carbery. At that age, we had a Connemara pony, suitably named Satanta. But Satanta had sweet itch. Right? Now, sweet itch, I'm going to tell you what that is. That's an allergic dermatitis that horses and ponies get on their manes and tails. And it's a reaction to the Culicoides, to the biting mite or the midge mite. And Satanta used to have to be brought in during the day and he was only let out to graze in the evenings. That was the commonest way to deal with sweet itch in ponies at the time, and various lotions that we'd put on them and all the rest of it. And I was fascinated by the idea that an animal which is in effect at one with nature, as it were, would have a reaction, a sensitivity to little creatures that are perfectly natural. But that's the way it goes. That's what can happen. And dogs and cats the same. They can be allergic to different things. Because, you see, an allergy is a hypersensitivity. An allergy is where the immune system overreacts, overactivates in response to an allergen. An allergen is any type of a little protein that might be contained within an insect or a bug, or contained within pollen, or contained within a food ingredient. That's an allergen. It'll be a little molecule that the immune system reacts to.
Okay, so when we're talking about it for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to be talking about allergies. We're talking about it from 3 different aspects, as you just said there, more or less. What's the most popular one or common one?
Well, the most common one in dogs nowadays is dietary allergies.
Okay.
Now, the reason for that, I think, because the prevalence I've seen over the last 20 years, the increase in prevalence, I think is bad supermarket commercial pet food, honestly, is the cause of the increase in allergies in dogs, right? So they start off early in life and they're typically fed the mass-produced pet foods that come from the big pet food factories and are branded by the big multiples. And these pet foods contain colours and additives and sugars and salts and artificial preservatives.
Okay, are we talking about kind of dry or wet food or both?
Yeah, it could be both. It could be either.
Okay, right.
Could be either. Another thing about it is a lot of the proteins that go into the commercial pet foods are poor quality proteins. There might be, if you actually read the bottom of the bags and the bottom of the cans, it could say chicken derivatives or it could say meat derivatives. That'll be feathers and beaks and it could be anything, any part of the animal goes into the pet food.
Okay. When we think about that then, and we think about the allergies that it causes, is it because, I mean, if you're eating something like chicken derivative, and we just mentioned it,
exactly.
How the hell would that actually cause an allergy then?
Because it's like an overdose.
Yeah.
What happens is, you're probably fine the first few times you eat it, and your immune system doesn't react too badly to it. It's just crap food that you're putting into your body, let's face it, right? Whether you're an animal or a human, you're putting in bad stuff, and your body isn't going to derive much nutritional benefit from it, but you don't overreact to it. The body doesn't reject it and say, hang on a minute, I don't like this is wrong. It doesn't react until it's overdosed or overdone. So you're feeding puppies or you're feeding young dogs for months and months and months until eventually the immune system decides, I'm allergic to this, and the dog will break out inexplicably, unexpectedly, in spots and lumps and bumps and become itchy.
Yeah, okay, but it's only in the last couple of years that we've really started looking at diets within animals properly.
Yeah, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
The prevalence of it has increased, yeah. It's become a bigger issue as more and more pets are inside in the house. They're more domesticated, they're living more with humans, and they're being fed less scraps and more proprietary pet foods, you see.
Is that the reason why vets like yourselves are always recommending different brand names? Now, we know with your own and stuff like that, but I'm talking with generally, and there's lots of your vets, friends and buddies, they've got to the situation where they're saying exactly the same thing about the big superstores.
They are, the kind of...
And you always touch on the fact that some of these foods are really high in salt, and that causes problems in itself.
Yeah, salt and the flavourings, potassium sorbate is one. Lots of pets will be allergic to that. That's a preservative.
Okay.
And you'll see those in the pet foods. And the nitrates that are in pork to preserve pork. There are chemicals in sausages and hams and rashers and things that we can take for granted, but they're pumped full of chemicals, and often our pets are allergic to those.
Is it all about balance, though? I mean, when it comes to human diet and when it comes to animal diet, is it balance? Is it a case, look, there's a bit of a treat from the dinner plate to your dog or cat, and here's your nuts. And you know, Paul says that his dogs love the dry nuts that you have, and subsequently, and is it just a case of here's a bit of this, here's a bit of that, and also it stops the dogs eating mundane, and they're not getting into a habit of, say, eating just the same stuff all the time.
Yeah, balance is great from the word go.
Right.
But say you have a dog that's 3 years old and now he's allergic, then it's too late.
Yeah.
So then he can't have that stuff again. Whatever we find that he might be allergic to, whatever ingredient we identify, sometimes it can be hard to identify what ingredient it is. We have a number of suspicions and we might narrow it down. But once you have an animal that's allergic, it's too late. Oh. But early on, the whole idea of balance and moderation is the way to go. Okay, so that's allergy that's
the
diet side of it,
food side of things. Yeah. So what are we looking at regarding signs and symptoms from this food? Are we talking about kind of rashes on your skin? Are you talking about sores? Are you talking with scabs? What are you talking about here?
Yeah, with the food allergies, there'll be two types, right? You have the intestinal sensitivity, where the anal glands become inflamed and they become itchy, and the backside becomes a bit raw and a bit inflamed, a bit red, and the glands will be blocked. And in conjunction with that, you might have intermittent diarrhea, bloating, bad smells. So that's the intestinal sensitivity. Some food ingredients cause that, and some food ingredients primarily cause a skin reaction. And that'll be hives and itching and scratching and licking the paws and rubbing the face and rubbing the eyes.
Okay, that makes sense as well. Are there the same symptoms for cats and dogs?
Cats are not as bad. They don't get the same problems to the same extent. The food thing isn't as prevalent with cats. Now, the environmental, parasitic and pollen end of it, that's more of a factor with the cats.
Okay, James is on. He says, regarding kind of frequency of food, in my case, we do give both of our black Labradors dry food predominantly, but we went through a stage in the summer of last year where we gave them wet food just to compensate with water, etc. The problem was that frequent licking started coming into place and they were biting one particular area. Do you reckon this could be to do with food?
Yeah, that was an allergic reaction probably to one of the preservatives that were in that tin, in that can. I'm glad to hear that pet owner then did stop using those products and went back to the dry food, which beforehand. So seeing is believing, as they say. Follow the evidence. If you had no trouble before and then you switched food onto something else, whatever it is, and you have trouble, then go back to the old good diet that's safe.
Okay. What about medication?
Yeah, medication. We talk about antihistamines.
Yes.
So we have a few little different drugs and tablets. And they'd be similar to the ones that people use for hay fever and eczema and so on.
Okay.
There's a tablet called Apoquel, another one called Atopic. I've mentioned those
Yeah.
before. They're pricey enough. Early on, sometimes we just use a very simple type of a steroid tablet called prednisolone.
Okay.
After a while, prednisolone has side effects, so we use it sparingly.
Okay.
But it can be very safe as a once-off.
Okay, because we're talking about a lot of this is going to happen during the warm, dry season, or even if it's wet and it's still warm,
That's
or
right.
it's kind of typical Irish weather, it does have knock-on effects, and at the same time, it does cause problems. So is it a case that when you put them on those medications, do they just do it for the summer months, or do you kind of put them on indefinitely?
Yeah, so the big category would be seasonal allergic dermatitis. That's where it'll be pollen, or it'll be parasitic, or it'll be something environmental, right? That's a big category. And in those cases, they might be on the tablets on and off for 3 to 4 months of the year. The worst few months, May, June, July, August, that type of thing. You get the occasional dog that reacts really badly to whatever it is in their garden in April and May.
Okay.
And then they're fine for the rest of the summer. And then you'll get... oftentimes we find this, there's a thing called a harvest mite, which is a type of a midge that's around in September and October. And oftentimes dogs that spend a lot of time out for walks in woodland, bogland and canalways and waterways, they'll react badly to harvest mites.
Okay. Geraldine James was on. She says she has a problem with her Kerry Blue during the summer months. Every summer, always allergic reaction to grass. Can she take an antihistamine, or can a human antihistamine tablet help?
Yeah, the human antihistamines that you buy over the counter, say Piriton and Citrine and Loratadine.
You mentioned that to me before.
They're fairly mild. Now, I get a little bit of hay fever and I take a couple of generic Loratadines, and 2 of them work nicely just to abate the signs of hay fever. They will work sometimes in dogs, and they're worth trying. But sometimes these dogs are multi-allergic. There's a few other things going on, and the Citrine and the Loratadine mightn't be enough. But it's perfectly safe to try them.
Okay, good one. Good question coming in, a couple of different parts coming in. So, we have a cross Shih Tzu Bichon bitch, 12 years old, and an 8-year-old Jack Russell dog. They both sleep downstairs, but lately the Shih Tzu has started scratching the kitchen floor and barking to come upstairs. We can't get a good night's sleep. Any ideas? Part 1. Hold that thought there, Des.
Right.
And our Shih Tzu is also on Apoquel tablets, and her coat is in good nick. They're both no problems with eating, and it's just impossible to live with at the moment.
She's on Apoquel, and she's, I wonder, is she irritated or inflamed at night? Is something bothering her? So I'd go back and chat to the vet. She's on Apoquel, and figure out about giving her something to help her settle a little bit at night.
Okay, Apoquel wouldn't cause reactions, would it?
No, it's not.
Not as a general rule of thought.
No, but she's obviously just tormented with itchy skin.
Okay. Now, we touched on the food and the dietary element. What about common causes like fleas, insect bites, certain, household cleaning products, stuff like that? I see that coming up just on a trend. Yeah,
that's coming up a lot. Okay, I have seen categories of what you'd call an anaphylaxis.
Okay.
Now, an anaphylaxis, we know we've all heard about what an anaphylaxis is, because certain people who are allergic to peanuts or whatever those ingredients are can get this anaphylaxis and have to carry a pen. Well, we have dogs out there, believe it or not, usually pedigree dogs, and commonly, by the way, boxers seem to react to this, right?
Okay.
Chlorinated cleaning products, right? Bleachy floor cleaners can cause sudden allergic puffy eyes, puffy airway, inflamed throats. So there are certain dogs who are, if they're running around the kitchen while the floors are being mopped with the use of these coloured chlorinated floor products and floor cleaners, they can get this anaphylaxis, this allergic reaction, and they need a steroid injection to take down the swelling in their face and the swelling in their eyes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about allergic reactions as a result of dusty areas in our shed? Our dog sleeps in the shed predominantly at night time during winter, where there doesn't seem to be any issues, but during the summer we always notice that he's scratching an awful lot. Okay,
probably turf in the shed, you see, brought in over the winter.
Yeah.
And the turf has various little creepy crawlies on it, which are maybe in their hibernation phase or in their larval stage or pupa phase during the winter, and they are popping up into their adult form as the weather is warmer and more humid. So that dog is developing probably a reaction to turf mites, harvest mites that have been brought in brought into the shed over the winter.
Okay. I've an interesting question here, which I thought is quite a good one. Can I give my dog local honey?
You can, but it won't do anything.
No, they'll just enjoy it.
They'll just enjoy it. They just enjoy it. It's not going to fix anything.
No,
but it won't do any harm.
Yeah, I think it's to do with local honey and, you know, the way local honey bees, high fever, stuff like that with humans. Some people say to eat local honey.
Okay, so the theory is that locally made honey contains all the local allergens, and that you can customise your body to all the different proteins and allergens that are in the environment by taking a good honey. And natural honey contains a natural salicylate, which is good for the immune system. So a little bit of honey is no harm on a preventative basis, even for dogs. But it's not going to fix anything.
But I mean, the honey surely would have a kind of a sweet effect for the dog. Would they not get addicted to it?
They might get too fond of the sweet. That would be the problem. And you would take it away, then they won't eat their dinner.
Yeah,
this is often the problem.
They'll want.
As I say to people who start mixing nice stuff with the dog food, don't make a problem for yourself by making the dog fussy.
Yeah,
and he'll look for it every time.
Okay. Can I give my... Oh, that's the same one. That's a separate one there. Oh, no, it came in two different areas. June was on. She says her 3-year-old cat is always in great form. Quite recently, he's been just nibbling at his paws, and he's also now at his stomach a little bit. Any reason why? Yeah,
so cats are out and about and they're hunting and they're enjoying themselves at this time of year.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a type of allergic response. I see that really commonly in cats, and at this time of year, that type of an allergy to environmental allergens that are out there. Don't know if it's always pollen or if it's always the mites, the parasites. Could be either or. But here's the thing with cats: those good anti-parasitic spot-on products, right? Oftentimes, cats don't often need the same type of antihistamine treatment as a dog might.
Yeah.
Usually it's enough just to sort out the cat's parasite control. Get one of the really good spot-ons, Broadline, NexGard, or Bravecto, one of the really good cat spot-ons, and use them regularly, probably monthly for the summer, and that'll keep your cat's skin right. Cats get those itches and scratches and patches of missing hair on their ears, top of their heads, paws, and tummies. And when you have hair loss and lesions and itching and scratching in those locations in cats, the best cure for it generally is the monthly use of, as I say, either NexGard, Broadline, or Bravecto for the cat.
Okay, very good. How do vets find the triggers in allergies?
Very hard to find the exact product. The reason why is humans have 5 or 6 types of immunoglobulin. They're the little soldiers within your immune system. And our immune system is quite specialised or individualised in its response. In other words, one particular immunoglobulin will react to one particular protein, and another immunoglobulin will react to another protein. So the old pinprick allergy testing can be quite specific in people.
Yes.
But dogs have a different immune system. They don't have 5 or 6 different immunoglobulins. Most of their immune response is a shotgun response. So when they become allergic to one thing, they usually develop a multi-allergic response because the immunoglobulins are all thrown out there. All the guns, all the soldiers in the immune system are activated. They're all trying to fight the itch, fight the scratch. So when we do the allergy testing in the dogs, they usually show up as allergic to loads of things.
Okay.
So the testing's not accurate.
Okay, fair enough. On to Damien. Damien is on. He said he was at his vet last year regarding antihistamines, something similar as well. And his vet said that antihistamines can be fatal to pets at times because of some of the chemicals that are in them. It's not worth the risk generally, but some will advise, some won't.
Yeah, look, you might be unlucky. The over-the-counter ones are safe.
Yeah. It's the ones that are...
If you had one in the fridge that was given to a member of the family, I wouldn't be giving that to the dog or cat.
Yeah, okay. So in other words, if you're on a prescription or high-end, which would be kind of...
That's it.
Yeah.
But you're better off going to the vet and getting on a regular programme of one of 3 ways. Either the Apoquel tablet, the Atopica tablet, the steroid tablet, as an occasional aside, right? And then the fourth thing, not three, the fourth thing would be the new form of treatment for allergies, Cytopoint. We talk about the monthly injections for arthritis here, and I'm a great fan of those. New product called Librela for arthritis. It's a wonder drug. Well, there's another type of a wonder drug for bad allergies called Cytopoint, which is a monthly injection.
Okay, a couple of more quick questions. First of all, here's a question for you. Brought our little dog to a vet yesterday evening at 4 because there was blood and was tearing the face off himself. Thought it was his eye. Sent him home with antibiotics and sedation to calm him down. Said he was too stressed to do anything at the moment. Gone back to the vet now, but the state of him this morning was very upsetting. Thought they would have done something for him yesterday. So, hold on a second, I just want to use the mouse. Can you just you can lean to one side there so I can just scroll up and down. So you can first of all there.
So that little fella's face is very inflamed, very itchy.
Yeah.
He has an infection in the skin there, as I can see. So that's why they gave him antibiotics. I think the hope there, or the plan there, would be that when you see a dermatitis as bad as that, normally any vet would treat that in 2 stages. The first stage is try and get the infection under control, and the second stage then is figure out...
Treat the antibiotics.
Then the second stage is figure out what's causing it and figure out what the best long-term plan is. So I would say yesterday would have been kind of stage 1. Go back today and they'll get stuck in, and they will probably clip up the area there, to clean it, use a disinfectant on it, use an antibiotic cream, and probably assess whether it needs a steroid type of a tablet or more antibiotics.
Okay.
But dermatitis is, when it's bad like that, there's no quick fix.
Okay, to wrap up, Des, if your animals out there are kind of suffering, what's the 2 or 3 things you need to do, I suppose?
Do you know what's really effective? Whether it's itchy skin, inflamed skin, or they're just simply bothered by the heat and they're struggling in the summer a little. Fresh air, improve ventilation, reduce the temperature of where they're being kept or where they spend their time, and improve the fresh air in the area where they're being kept, and get them outside. And a really useful thing as well, especially on warm days and muggy, humid days, a nice cold shower. Have a good sprinkler in the garden, and don't be afraid to give the dog a good old sprinkle for 5 or 6 minutes on those muggy, uncomfortable, unpleasantly warm days.
Yeah, and most importantly, keep them hydrated as well, I think, overall, because even though they like to be cooled down, everything else.
Cold water, cold fresh water,
Yeah, okay, well done. And of course, if you want more information, you want to check out Des, you can also go down to them, or you can check out their website. The website is always, Des?
Yeah, petslife.ie. And we've a new service coming on stream to cater for weekend shoppers in Kildare Village. We're just down the road from Kildare Village.
Yeah.
So we're introducing a day pass called Gym Dog and Shopping, where people can drop the dog for a bit of activity, bit of fun time, bit of playtime, and have the dog safely minded in our daycare facility while they're enjoying their shopping.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. That's a great idea, actually. Very always inventive and coming up and thinking about the future of your pets and animals. Well done, Des. Back again next week here on Kildare's KFM. Still to come, we got some Benson Boone and Elton John on the way.
It's a pet's life with Gym Dog, Ireland's first pet resort by Des the Vet, managed by vets, loved by pets. Daycare, vet care, premium pet food and grooming. Visit at petslife.ie.